sorry, parent function. And parent functions can be identified by their shape, also their equation, but it's literally just about, okay, if you graph it, what would it look like? Yesterday we talked about the word transformation. A transformation is a change to the parent function. It changes the size, shape, position, or orientation of a graph. We'll either be talking about horizontal or vertical. If you see anything happening to just the x, that's a horizontal transformation. If anything happens to the whole function, like f of x, then it would be vertical. So we're going to start with translations, which again, these are things that you saw yesterday, if you did what you were supposed to in class on that Desmos thing. A translation slides the graph left, right, up, down. You did translations in geometry as well. It just like slides things around the grid. So here's two examples. So f of x plus k, that would be something like if you had the absolute value and then you added 2. So it goes at the end. This one would shift it up 2. That number at the end, you saw that yesterday. Or let's do a different one that makes it go down. So here is a quadratic. And this one goes down how much? 4. Yep. So that k value at the end of the equation would shift it up or down. You looked at horizontal translations, which would shift it left or right. If it's subtraction, that actually shifts it right. So for example, something like this, that would shift it right 3. It's kind of backwards of what you would think. It's kind of like point slope form where it changes signs because it's x minus h. And if you were to see something like x plus 1 in bars, that would be an absolute value function that is going left 1. Okay, absolute value. And we need to talk about how does it move. So if the regular one is just the x, this one is x plus 4. So that moves it left 4. Because it's in the bars, and then we do the opposite, probably what we think. It goes left 4. So that's your clue for this one. You see bars, it's absolute value. On the next one, I see a squared. Do you know what it's going to look like at least? Called you can flip to page 6 if you need to. It's called quadratic. If you see the squared, it's quadratic. So that's the parent function name, and then we're going to talk about what actually happens to it. I see the minus 5 at the end. So which way does it move it? Down 5. Do you see any squareds on it? No. You see any bars on it? Then it's probably a line. Yeah, the exponent there would be a 1. So this is a linear function. If I were to graph it, this is already, it's like mx plus b, okay? It has a slope of 1 and it has a y-intercept of 1. But we're trying to talk about transformations. So I see a plus 1 at the end. It goes up 1. Or this one could also work as, because you could put that in parentheses technically, it will go left 1 would also work. Because I could do like some parentheses right here to make it go left. If that's confusing to you, I'd take up 1. I think that makes a little bit more sense, but just so you know, that would work as well. You got a parabola, so this is quadratic. You have a straight line, linear. You have a V. Those are my personal favorite. We'll get to more of those next week. Okay, but then you have to talk about how it actually moved. So this one started from the center and then it moved that direction. How far? Left 1. Okay, the linear function again started in the middle and moved, you could say down 2. Or you could say it moved right 2. Because you'll notice it also moved right. It kind of works the same way with linear functions. And then the absolute value moved up 4. So you see here, the function graph is f of x. State the transformations that have been performed on f of x. Sketch the graph following the given transformations of f. So this is where colors might be helpful for you. So you have some random function. There's no equation for this, guys. You just have this f of x function minus 2. So that's f of x that you see. And if I do minus 2, how would that move the graph? If it's a minus 2 at the end. It goes down 2 because this is your k. So it's minus k. It goes down 2. So I take each point, just like you did in geometry, take each point and move it down 2 and plot a new point. Whoop. Nice thing is you don't have to label these points like A prime, B prime, C prime. So you slide it down 2. X plus 3 is where I see like those kind of things in parentheses where I see most mistakes. X plus 3 moves it which way? Left. So this is the left 3, and then the plus 1 at the end, up 1. So this is your H, and this is your K. Left 3, up 1, so take each point and move it left 3 and up 1, just like you did in geometry when you did translations. Oops, counted wrong. Whoops. And you're connecting your dots. Lovely. You have a negative in front of the absolute value powers that would flip it over the x-axis. Or if you have a negative like in front of the x squared for a quadratic, that would flip it over the x-axis and make it reflect. So this page is really boring because they all do the same thing, because they're all just flipping over the x-axis. You see your equations. We are going to name the parent functions though. So number 8, 9, and 10, can you talk about what's the parent function? And spoiler, they all just reflect, but can you talk about what the parent functions are? If you're not sure, you can look back at page 6. Okay, if you got no exponents, so the exponent there would be a 1. If you graph this, it would be a straight line that has a slope of -1, starts at 0. This is the linear function. Number 9, what is that? You have bars. That's your clue. Absolute value. And number 10, you got that curve. Quadratic. Okay. So then describe the transformation. Do you see how it's got a negative in front for 8 and 9, and on number 10 it has flipped. So what is this called again? This is called a reflection. I'm gonna over the x-axis. This is the same for all of them. And I don't feel like writing it 3 times, so there we go. You can write it 3 times if you want, but I don't want to. So reflect and flip over the x-axis. So reflect over the x-axis. This is where we will take each point and flip it over to the other side. Now, when we do this, you got to make sure you count how far it is from the x-axis. Just a reminder that this is the x-axis right here. And so you're flipping over this line. So for example, if this point on the left side is at, so it's -2, so it's down 2 squares, so we need to flip it over and go 2 squares the other way, which puts it up here. You're trying to make a mirror image, right, over the x-axis. So it's up 1 here, so go 1 the other way. This should feel like geometry. and then repeat, right? So 5 this way. And connect them. A stretch is when it gets thinner. A compression is when it gets wider. So we'll try and like color code here. Stretch means thinner. So it's like getting stretched out and like pulled and getting stretched out like that. Compress means shorter or wider. It changes the size of the graph. You are going to, this is the part that's important for today, as this is for sure like the one that's maybe the most difficult out of the 3 things we're talking about. You have to multiply your y values, okay? And you'll actually have to do some multiplication. So here's 2 examples. Your stretch by 2, for example, you could have 2 in front of an absolute value function, and this is a stretch by a factor of 2. Or you can have a compression, which is when it gets wider. And that's if you have a fraction usually or a decimal in front, something between 0 and 1. Like this. So you call it a shrink or compress by 1/2. By a factor of 1/2 is often how we say it. We're at 17a. This is a compression by a factor of 1/2, meaning that it's going to get wider. So my y values are going to become half of the size. So to actually make this happen, you have to multiply your y values by half, or 0.5. So if 0.5 makes more sense to you, you could also do that. So we'll just take one of these points at a time. You're trying to get half the size on your y values. If this is the point right here, this point is at -2, -2. We're multiplying our y values, or maybe I should just say y equals -2 right here. Then if I multiply that y value by half, it becomes half the size, which would put it there. Because it's -2, I multiply it by half, it becomes -1. This y value is at 1, right? If I multiply it by a half, then what is my new y value going to be? Trying to make it half the size. So it would be at 1/2. It's like dilations, if you did dilations in geometry. So this one is at -1, you multiply it by a half, and it becomes -1/2. So notice it's getting closer to the x-axis. Your last y value is at 5. So you multiply it by a half, and it would become 2.5. Because now when I graph this, you'll notice it gets wider. So if you need like an example written out, my y value for this last point was 5. If I multiply that by a half, it becomes 2.5. So that's how I got this last one on the right. And now it is wider. Okay, 3/2, what's that as a decimal? 3 divided by 2. That is 1.5. So this is a stretch by 3/2 because 3/2 is equal to 1.5. So you might think it's going to be compression, but it's actually not because you're multiplying by 1.5. So it's getting 1.5 times taller. So you're going to multiply your y values by 1.5. actually going to get 1.5 times bigger. So we can start with the one on the right maybe this time if you want. So if I take my y value here of 5 and I multiply it by, you can do 1.5 or by 3/2, then that would be 7.5. So that means that my new point is going to be here. So my y value is 5. I multiply it by 3/2. So do that for your other ones as well. My y value here is -1. I multiply it by 3/2. And it becomes this one. Or if it makes more sense to you to do multiply it by 1.5, I'm fine with that. You would get -1.5. So then my new point is here at -1.5. And you keep doing that. This one's also at +1.5. And then your last one, -2. I do -2 times 1.5. And I get 3. Because you multiply by 1.5. Half of 2 is 1, and I add that on. So this guy is at 3. Or I should say -3, sorry. Why is this one here? I think this one got a little rogue. So now when you graph it, it's taller, like 1.5 times taller.